Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a huge pleasure having you on the Whiteblood Panorama on your favorite channel, Whiteblood Multimedia. And I'm your host, Umar Isa Dandugu. Well, in the first part of my interview with Engineer Muaz Magaji Dansaronia, Mr. Win-Win, we had a serious discussion and debate on whether or not the politicians are the ones making the country's politics so complex. In this week's episode, I'm going to be challenging him on how transformative he is willing to be when he gets elected as the next governor of Kano State. Engineer Dansaronia has this popular slogan which says win-win Kano Sabwa, which means win-win the new structure of Kano, something related to that. I don't know, but is this similar to Donald Trump's slogans of America first and making America great again? We'll find out in the course of the program. But to be more specific, Kano State is faced with a plethora of challenges and problems. First of all, lack of adequate and clean water, a weak healthcare system, education, and of course the internal security, which is of paramount importance and significance. Another controversial issue that has been politicized is the issue of Al-Majri's system of education and its links to the street begging. So how determined is my guest to deal with all these problems decisively and effectively? And the million-dollar question is, does he deserve to be the governor of Kano State? Well, Engineer Muaz Magaji Dansaronia, Mr. Win-Win, joins me now in the studio. Thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you so much, Umar. Good to have you around. Good to have me around again.
Of course, it was a nice interaction and interview that I had with you.
Thank you.
Of course, but one very thing to kick us all off that I mentioned in my introduction, and to be honest with you, I'm going to look you in the eye and repeat it, is why do you believe you deserve to be the governor of Kano State?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Like you rightly said, Kano State is a big state and it's a state with a lot of challenges. But I believe that the issue of power, it's a prerogative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Power belongs to Allah, and He gives to whom He pleases and He takes from whom He pleases. The issue of qualification, I think you will start from the constitutional requirement. I believe I have fulfilled all the requirements for the constitution to vie for this Kano State governorship, and I'm doing that exactly. But the difference is, why am I different from the other people who are contesting? And what am I bringing that is different from what other people have brought in? And why do we call our movement win-win? And why do we even advocate for Kano Sabwa? These are the issues around our candidature. In the first place, you have introduced this episode with a plethora of challenges. Infrastructure, education, healthcare, the Al-Majri system. Our Kano is a big, massive, mega state, but it's not a mega city.
Okay.
And the two different. It's a big state because it's one of the largest states in Nigeria and even in sub-Saharan Africa. But to be a mega city, you have to have an organized society. You have to have a structure where you are managing the state based on data, based on exactly what population do you have and what water requirement do you have. For example, when you mention the issue of water, since the days of Audubago, when the water treatment plants were built, there were just a few upgrade and modification. But when those water treatment plants were built, were based on a very clear data on the population of the state, based on the area the people are living and where the water is going. So if you are going to supply water, you need to know how many people will drink water. If 7 of us in this room buy 1 bottle of water, you certainly know it will not be enough. But if we buy 7 bottles of water with 2 spares, then you know that everybody will have water. You are very sure of that. And then there is an extra for washing hands. So if you design your water system according to population, and then you raise the resource to provide that service, you will have water. So it's all about project management and expertise, and that's what we are bringing.
And do you have that quality?
Yes, that's what we are bringing. As a project manager, as an engineer, as a globally trained professional, we're bringing that capability and that ability to bear.
But you're not a water engineer, you are a gas and oil engineer.
Yes, but you see,
and Kano State is
project
not producing any oil.
Project management. basically means that anything you design to achieve, you must have a plan, you must have a design, you must have a management model, implementation ability, mobilizing the people that will do it, and knowing and testing the people capability, and then monitoring and evaluation, and then taking consequence management when there is failure. This is project management, and I'm a specialist in that. So my oil and gas background also give me ability to handle pipes. That's even a plus for water. When the pressure of oil is 1,000 times higher than water, then water is a small business for us.
And you think you can deal with it?
Of course not. I think I'm saying that it's a child play for me to just connect pipe and supply water.
Too confident.
Because the truth of the matter is the standards required in the oil and gas is way higher than the standard required in water distribution and the reticulation and distribution. What is important, joke aside, is that before you actually design an intervention, whether it's road, whether it's water, whether it's transportation, that the states actually require, you must have the expertise required to map the basic space to attain the data that will enable you to put a plan that will satisfy that population. What we are not doing in Kano is we're not planning. We're throwing money into things and then there is no outcome, there is no impact. The result is not satisfying. So we have people who just get into power because they want to ride big cars and they want to have siren and they want to go into big office and they want to put their hand in the treasury for their own personal aggrandizement. That's not what brought us to politics, and that's not what brought us. I need to give you a little background. You know, we came from a background of corporate world, private sector. Meaning there is global corporation like Shell, where I worked, and it gives you the best of training in the world. You can decide. I could have stayed in Shell and be comfortable. Myself, my family, my relatives, my neighbors, and maybe the whole of surrounding, I would be comfortable with me just being in Shell. And I probably will pull maybe 10 or 20 people to join me with the passion of human development. But you see, the challenge this country is facing, when I got the opportunity to come and help in the power sector, I found out that there are not many people who have the global privilege God has given us. And this country is at a point where you need that type of background. Because look, you can be talking about development for 100 years. If you don't have the people with the ability to sit down and plan development and bring it to bear, you will not see development. You will wish for development. And therefore, when I say win-win Kano Sawa, we actually mean to bring our expertise, our background, our pedigree, our global awareness to modernize this state and restructure it around development sectors that will bring economic prosperity, infrastructure development, transportation transformation, youth and women empowerment, and not just 10,000, 30,000 empowerment. We really enterprise empowerment.
What does that mean?
It means that young people have creative energy, they have creative ideas, they're into ICT, they're into sports, they're into entertainment. This is money in today's world. If you harness this industry and manage it well, a young person called Ahmed Musa today is saying he wants to be president. He's a multi-billionaire in their terms. Why? Because his leg can dribble, can score goals. And there are hundreds of Ahmed Musa in this city called Kano.
So you will pump money into sports?
We will organize sports, we will bring partnerships. See, sometimes money is not the only thing you need. That's why I say expertise is required. You can pump money and not get result. But you have expertise. When you combine money, expertise, and you give a good plan to this state, Kano will be a different place. I promise you.
But okay, what worked for New York City and Madison and London and Paris may not work in Kano, because we're talking about totally different people. I am not talking about, when I say... So that you're going to bring your global expertise and experience into Kano, which means something that we learn from the UK and the US.
Knowledge is universal. If you are planting beans in Jersey, New Jersey, in the United States, and you learn how to plant a good breed of beans and bring best practice to produce 10 hectares instead of 2, if you bring it to Nigeria, you'll be probably lucky to produce 6 to 7 tons per hectare, because you bring what is called knowledge and best practice. So if you say knowledge is domesticated only in the United States, let us look at Lagos. What happened to Lagos? They brought experts, a global oil and gas expert like myself called Bola Ahmed, who was working in a sister company called ExxonMobil, and he brought his expertise to identify talents that will bring capacity in his government. This is important. We're not talking about street politics here. We're talking about combining street politics with global expertise. This is important. Kano State is not a local village. It's a global brand. Kano is known all over the world in areas of commerce, in agriculture, and industry. If you don't modernize these sectors, we will continue to be local champions, and you will recruit local champions to be leading us in our government and in our politics. We want to change that. Now, let me explain to you how we intend to do that. When we say win-win, the first win for us is to attract good people into politics. Is to create the opportunity so that young people who wants to aspire for leadership can come into politics and aspire. We'll remove Godfatherism and Nepotism and personal interest that will give position of power to in-laws and sisters and brothers of your wife in a nepotic manner. We want to remove all of that so that people with knowledge, capacity, relationship, whether they go to school or not, but they have good relationship and they have capacity and passion for the people, can aspire to become leaders. That is one win. The second win is very important. Politicians tend to go into politics without a plan, without what to do when they get to office. They just give 100% attention to the process of becoming leaders in politics. We're saying no. The second win must be a very clear roadmap for the transformation of your constituency and society. And we are starting with the state governor, and we need senators and House of Rep members, and we need local government chairmen to have the same belief that when they are going into politics, you know exactly what you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you want to focus on agriculture in this local government or mining? Or do you want to transform education in your local government? In Kano, we have a convoluted program of action that, when put together, will revive Kano economy in a modern way, will bring capacity in education and young people, will restructure our healthcare and make it accessible to children and women and the aged in a free mode, and people who are viably employed will pay for health insurance. We have also a program of transforming economy through what is called new economy. ICT, sports, entertainment, these are global services that attract inflow of capital from around the world. Now, so if you come into our movement, and it's not a contest of Engineer Muazma and you wanted to be governor, it's an open movement that attracts all people who wants to change and transform this politics and have a program of action in their mind to implement when they become leaders. So when you come in, you know that win-win means good politics and a program for development. And when we say Kano Sawa, is the summary of this combination of these two. Change the politics for the better and transform Kano into a modern economic state that becomes the economic hub of the Sahel, globally renowned. Now, when you say United States, I say, no, leave United States. Oh, look at Islamic state like Dubai, commercial state like Dubai, or look at a state in Nigeria like Lagos, or look at an African nation like Rwanda. So there are examples close to home, far away from home, Islamic society, non-Islamic society. Kano have the population, the potential, the ability, the reach out globally to become an economic leader in commerce, in agriculture, in industry, and also design a program where our teaming young people will apply themselves in areas of economy that will make them prosperous and they will help their siblings.
Okay, before I move on, I have to put this question because it's very much related to what you just talked about. I got the question from Madam Ilyasun, who is my physics teacher at the Science College Kano, a sister school to your secondary school, and it's all about IGR, the internally generated revenue. He says, and I quote, with the large population size in Kano State, how do you intend to utilize it in boosting the state internally generated revenue, that's IGR, being that we are far behind many states with less than half our size? He has two questions, but how would you address this?
So when we started in 1999, Kano and Lagos were at par in IGR and economy and industry and in commerce. Today, this is a very important question, and this is a very important indicator of where your state is heading to. Lagos is able to generate 35 to 40 billion naira per month.
Huge amount of
from less than $1 billion naira per month in 1999. Where did we get it wrong? that 1999 we were at the same level, below 1 billion, and today Lagos is doing 40 billion and we're doing only 3 billion.
So what's the problem? Where have we got it wrong?
This is the issue. Okay. Expertise, planning, economic stimulation. Remember, when I talked about empowerment, I say I don't want to give 30,000 or 10,000 to women. There is what's called enterprise empowerment. Now, you cannot tax people until you stimulate their economy. You cannot go and stress the people with little money in their jari, in the capital, and then you take it away as tax.
Okay.
Now, what you do as a government, you come up with a program like Lagos did that will stimulate the economy, that will bring new business, that will bring startups. When I say young people going into football, going into ICT, going into sports and entertainment, we will tax those guys because they will be making millions of dollars. And we will tax. When I say I will stimulate the enterprise ability of grassroots young people and local government in agriculture, we will provide the tools for them to set up poultries, fisheries, Godfrey. Now, we're not talking about local market here. Look, if you grow goats in Nigeria, in Kano here, you can export it to Middle East. The skin is the best we have. The meat is sought after in world. When you start adding inflow and you tax those inflow, what happens is you get a huge revenue. So the secret to this IGR, I personally got it from the mouth of the master who designed this.
Who is it?
Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay.
I asked him a question, that how is it that he is rich, and Lagos is rich, and his people are rich, and his political allies are powerful in politics, and Lagos has attained development? How is it possible that people are saying he's corrupt? If you are corrupt, you cripple your state. So he said to me, look, simple. When you get a 10% contract for revenue, you are encouraging the revenue mobilization company to get more revenue. But he will tell you, if he's good, if the company is good, he will come and tell you, if you invest X amount of money here, we will grow so business and we can get tax. That is mapping, that's planning, that's expertise.
Are you ready to do that?
My brother, the gentleman who asked this question said, Kano has huge population.
Yeah, he says
have commerce as a brand. That's where revenue comes from. But you have to have the expertise to harness it, stimulate it, design it, and grow it so that you tax. People will not be stressed. When people know you are using the tax for good, that is when more tax will come into your cover.
So how will you convince them to pay? Now they're watching you.
Now listen,
pay the tax because they are afraid that when they pay,
the issue of tax is simple. It's about trust. The issue of tax is about trust.
How can you build that trust?
It's simple. Lead with integrity and show by example. Do not ever put yourself as a competition to be rich as a governor to the business community. You are not a business person. As a governor, you are a leader who bring many people to become billionaires without you necessarily becoming a billionaire. Because that's your responsibility. You want your state to be rich. You are not in competition with the Dangotes or the Dantatas or the Boas. You are the governor. That is your space. I would be proud to say I have been a governor and there are 100 people who become billionaires in Kano, and when I need some loan, I will go to them after retiring. I don't want to be a billionaire. I want to be a good governor in history that has grown this state to prosperity and created more multi-billionaires. And when you demonstrate sincerity and you demonstrate capacity and you show the direction, you will get help.
Okay, the second question that he put is, government can't contain the working force the state has. In what ways can he attract private investors? Does he have a planned policy-wise in domesticating industrial act and inserting norms that will boost good service delivery and good working conditions for their staff? Exactly
the same issue.
Okay.
When you introduced me, you said I was chairing the Kano Industrialization Committee. That was not an accident.
Okay.
It was because I brought out a blueprint to His Excellency Ganduje on how Kano can have its 5th industrial complex that is based on gas and power, and that will bring big investors. And to his credit, he brought big businesses from Kano, the Dangotes, the Asmans, the AA Renaults, and the Boas, and even Mr. Lee's. And they made commitment to invest in this industrial complex, but subject to what? The expertise to bring gas to Kano must be there. And therefore, when you do that, see, this little enterprise I'm talking to you, when you generate an enterprise startup, it creates employment for 2, 3, 10 people. When it grows, it creates employment for 100. This is economic of scale. Government have no business employing everybody. If you go to Lagos and give a graduate a job in government, you will think you are insulting him, because there is a place he can get 10 times the salary you are offering him. And they are not intending to go and steal, so they are not doing likimo in service until they become permanent secretaries.
Why did you use this word?
Yeah, because the word likimo, it's a term that's a lie low until your time comes.
Okay.
And then you strike, whatever your intention is.
Okay.
So I'm saying a graduate would rather get a gainful employment in an industry with a well-paying job that have a good quality of life, rather than go into civil service and struggle and wait until it's time to strike. And that strike is destructive to our system and it breeds corruption. So all I'm saying is, what we need to do is to ensure that when we stimulate the economy, we create this employment. This is very important. When you talk about government getting revenue, the moment government revenue start improving, means employment is being generated, means wealth is being generated, means opportunity are being created. Now, this requires very well planned expertise in terms of, see, the economy is a model. You put in something, you get something. Something will change when you put in something. It's either it changed for the better or it changed for the worse, and you quickly make an adjustment. This is how you nurture your economy.
It's a trial and error.
It's not a trial, it's a scale.
Okay.
It's a balance.
Okay.
You're not doing a trial and error.
But you said when you put it here and it works, fine. If it doesn't work, then you change.
So if you ask an economist, he will say to you, exchange rate, inflation, interest rates, and monetary policies are going together.
Okay.
When you tinker with one, the other one will change. How will it change? Depends on your demand forces and your supply forces. If your supply forces are good, when you make an input, you see a positive outcome. But when you make an input and you see a negative outcome, then you stop tinkering with this balance. You go back to your macroeconomic system, the biggest issues, and you address them. Maybe there is no infrastructure, maybe there is no power, maybe there is no water, maybe the roads are not. So even when you inject something, the industries are not coming, it means there is something that is stopping that reaction. But it's a tested model globally that the economy is a balance. It's a model that is a balance.
Okay, let's take a look at the plethora of problems that Kano State is currently faced with, and we're gonna have to be as brief as possible because they are not just one or two things. First of all, you know quite well, as well as I do, that right now in Kano State you cannot be going around on the street pressing on the fear of those people who snatched people's phones. Some people call them phone snatchers, others are calling them robbers, something like that, because they're even carrying some weapons, not guns, but knives and other things like that. This is a hugely significant and serious problem that has been bedeviling Kano State, and one of our contributors and viewers has sent in a question about this, and he said it's a good topic indeed that we're talking about, and he would like to ask you about your plan to curtail insecurity, especially with regards to this phone snatching. What are you specifically going to do to deal with this problem when you are elected as the governor of Kano?
So this is not a guesswork. Insecurity have three components.
Okay.
The first part is, what is the responsibility of the state as a federal structure that control the security apparatus? It is a relationship with the governor and the government that will enhance the workings of the security apparatus. The second one is the security of the state. As the governor, you are the chief security officer. So there is the bigger security, which is banditry, armed robbery, it's like kidnapping or Boko Haram. We are lucky, and to give credit to whom credit is due, Umar Ganduje has done very well in managing the interfaces that ensure that Kano has not fallen victim to those major issues. Where he failed woefully is where the agenda I am explaining to you, he was not able to put. He lacked the expertise and the experience to put an economic agenda that brings prosperity. These young people are idle minds. And there is a saying that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. If you engage young people in enterprise, in sports, in entertainment, this phone you are talking about can be used to make good revenue if you teach people how to utilize the social media space as well as the internet facility. So what you do, as much as you want your revenue to go up, you also want your job creation to happen. And it has a direct relationship with lowering crime.
Okay.
As much as possible, the more young people you put to work, the less criminal tendencies you will have.
So you are saying that, you are telling me right now that you're going to create more and more jobs for the teeming young people.
The entire economic agenda for Kano Sawa is about creating prosperity for homes, family, and younger people.
What?
Because if you don't do that, like I said to you, look, link three things together. IGR will not happen until you create enterprise. Jobs will not be available until you create enterprise. Insecurity of this internal city-based insecurity will not be lowered or eliminated until you create jobs. And you cannot create jobs without this enterprise. This enterprise requires expertise. I keep going to expertise.
So the root cause of the problem is
economy. It's simple economy.
And unemployment.
Yes, and unemployment is one parameter in an economic model.
Okay.
When you have unemployment, when you have cost of living, when you have high rise of prices, inflation, then the quality of life of individual degenerate.
Okay.
And he start losing hope in his own self and the state. And therefore the desperation to survive set in, and therefore the decision to attack, become destructive, or go into drugs will come in and manifest.
But some of those guys that are labeled as thugs are said to have some connections with the politicians.
Correct.
To be honest with you, and God forbid, thuggery has probably
become part of our politics.
Yes,
now remember, when I say win-win, I say cleaning up our politics and changing the political space is part of the first win we are aiming at. There is no space in my entire campaign structure. We don't tolerate thuggery. We don't give money for drugs. We don't buy arms and give to people. Because if you cannot do that to your own kid, it is a disservice, unfair, and irresponsible.
How can you prove to us that such people are not part of your circle?
All I will say is, you are a journalist. Follow us, investigate us, find out what we do, and find out one day when you will find out that we are giving drugs to people, or we are buying arms to people, or we are entertaining this. Look, I'll tell you something. When I became Commissioner of Works, Ministry of Works was a den for this type of elements. But within 3 weeks, I cleaned it up.
And you just chased them away?
No.
Okay, what did you do?
You see, again, expertise. Planning.
You're just flattering yourself.
No, I'm not.
When you talk about expertise,
I know what we are.
You are saying it's just like literally saying I'm an expert.
But when you ask me,
okay,
and when I say expertise, I explain what the expertise means.
But you're just relating it. You've been relating it to you
because
and your work.
Look, with all sense of humility and responsibility, I'm a trained professional who have gone to school, who have worked in the best place in life, who have worked with the best people, and I am saying to you, I am bringing all of that to bear in my aspiration as the governor. It's not a joke that 1999, Kano is where we are, 3 billion, and Lagos is at 30 billion, 10 times bigger. It's not by accident, it's by expertise. Trust this matter. Expertise is important. What I'm saying to you, reforming these young people require plan and the knowledge to develop them into productive human beings.
Which means you can accommodate them.
Yes, you bring them into your circle.
But you say we're not going to see them in your circle.
No, you see, you don't see them as drug pushers. You don't see them as thugs. You see them as human beings that are young politicians, because we are reform them.
Okay. So
what do we do?
Yes.
Right now, we don't have the government and the capacity to do that, but we don't encourage them to be. But when we get the opportunity, we will move them wherever they are and bring about this reformative agenda.
So you're saying that fine, during the campaign trials and during the campaign rallies, it's okay, we will see them with you, but when you get into power, you will fix them.
you will see them with other politicians because it has become a problem in Kano. I am saying to you, even when I speak to you now, I don't have them, I don't keep them, I don't finance them, I don't encourage them. And I will ask every politician to do exactly what I'm doing. So that way, they don't have the opportunity to become a nuisance in our politics. But unfortunately, we have people, we have candidates who pride themselves in using those boys for destructive tendencies. And I'm saying, even those ones, when we have opportunity, we will mop them out and reform them.
Do you need their votes?
They are citizens of Kano.
Do you need their votes?
If my promise to them to bring a legitimate legal reform in their life to make them better human beings, like the children of their bosses, is appealing to them, please vote for me.
Okay, so you need their votes, but you don't need them to be closer to you during the campaign rallies.
I need the vote of every Kano citizen that is far away or closer to me. And not everybody must be closer to me to vote for me. Okay,
another thing that I want to press you on is that, are we expecting to see your children and your relatives in your inner circle? Because you know the reason
why... Just stop there. Okay. God forbid.
What?
Because it's called nepotism. It's something I fought.
In your campaign rallies, in your inner circle, not as a governor, as a contestant.
You see, if you start to allow it to happen at campaign, then they will claim legitimate right to participate in government.
I don't think they would, because you're their father.
No, this is the issue.
So that's the problem. Politicians are said to be hiding their children by using other young people.
No, okay, if you're saying expose them to campaign, I have an ICT team. My son is a software engineer. He's helping us with the strategy possible. Not my family, for running the affairs of this state. And like I said to you, I'm not in competition with the rich people. So I'm not looking for money here. I'm going to leave a legacy together with my team, so that they will all be proud. And it's only 8 years, for God's sake. After 8 years, I will go for business and I will look for opportunity legitimately.
So you are now telling our people, our viewers, that, okay, you are looking for you're vying for the gubernatorial seat in Kano and spend 8 years, 2 terms.
I have
you're blatantly telling them that you're looking for 2 terms.
Absolutely the right to aspire for first and second term, because my program will convince citizens of Kano that 1 term is an excellent start and the second term is a wonderful consolidation.
And let's hope they're going to have that trust in you.
I am making it clear, and I will convince people that it is a partnership. It will be a win-win for Kano.
Briefly, before we go, because we just have less than 5 minutes, and these questions, the following questions, are very important, and they have come from our viewers and contributors. One of them is called Tahir Kallamu, and he says he's a fan, and he wrote, he says, and I quote, "I love his confidence and intellectuality, but ask him to stop being too much available for the people, more especially on social media platforms. He's bringing himself down." He then continues to say, "He talks unnecessarily at the wrong times to the wrong people on the wrong accusations from the wrong source and under the wrong conditions." What do you have to say to this guy?
Thank you for being my fan. I need you to understand, I'm not an emir, I'm not a district head, I'm not a dagachi, I am a politician. I relate with people from top to bottom. I talk to president, I talk to the people on the street. My participation in social media is my modern day interaction with my population. I understand them, they understand me, I interact with them, I get feedback. They abuse me, is their democratic right. If they are not happy with what I do, I take it. I am in politics because that is what democracy means, valuing each individual. Do not put your mind to these people who think being in politics, being a king, that I will sit on a chair and you sit on the floor. That's not how my democracy works. I interact with people on social media because it's our modern day communication, and you reach me out. I probably have not met you, but you met me on social media. So please take the best of me and forgive my shortcomings.
Yes or no? Are you like Donald Trump? Yes or no?
Far from it. I'm not like Donald Trump in any way. I am Muaz Magaji, the gubernatorial aspirant of Kano State and PDP.
In terms of social media visibility and presence, look, and being so controversial.
Donald Trump uses social media. Barack Obama uses social media. Bukola Saraki uses social media. Atiku Abubakar uses social media. Muaz Magaji uses social media. It is the style and substance of the individual. I am a Democrat who brings myself low so that people can interact with me. I get feedback. This is not a joke. When people are giving me feedback in their comment, I take it seriously. Sometimes I reply, sometimes I respond, sometimes I take note. For me, this is what democracy means. I am not going to act like a king in a democracy. I am not.
Okay.
I am your colleague. I'm your partner.
Two more things before we go. Comrade Bash Gwalsu, Bashir Arma, he says, beyond the common and seemingly unsustainable quote-unquote free education policy in Kano State, I would like to know specifically, make it brief, how he plans to face the problems and revive the education sector, particularly at the basic levels of primary and secondary schools, and to what extent would it be free from politicization? He's talking about free education.
Simple. Look,
are you interested?
The policy of free education at primary and secondary school level are good.
Okay.
The problem is corruption.
Okay.
The resources allocated to reform secondary school. So there are three elements quickly in education.
Yeah.
The place where you learn, the teachers that teaches you, and the substance you are taught.
Okay.
That is syllabus and curriculum.
Yeah.
Now, when money is put into education or healthcare or anything, and they are drained off due to corruption, there will be no results, no outcome, no impact. All I'm saying to you, in our administration, you will have the best of intention and the best of leadership that will ensure that when money is injected in education, it will get to education. But let me tell you why I'm talking to you and saying I want to be governor. I came from a village called Saronia. The only reason I am aspiring to be governor, and I'm confident that I can do it, is because of education, quality education. And I attended public schools, government schools. They worked when I was a student. We know they worked. So you will get it from me, quality schools. And I will do a little drama. I'll also ask my people who are in government to patronize this public school. Because if your kid cannot go to public school and you're managing education, then you are not the right person in my government. Will you send one of your kids? Sure.
Will you?
Sure.
Okay, good. Well, finally, Abdulaziz Tijanibok is our contributor from the United States of America. I'm sure you may have known him on Facebook.
Sure.
He's very active there.
Sure.
Okay, he says, what is your commitment to democracy? Briefly.
I have said this to you. I've mentioned people who I respect a lot because democracy is a system of government that give ordinary people who are gifted by God Almighty the ability to lead when they have the knowledge, the wisdom, the relationship, and the ability. It is the only system of government that has opened up the space for ordinary people to become something different, and because they are contributing to society and development. The problem is you don't know who will help people. So blue-blooded by birth does not guarantee people can bring development. But when you open democracy and give the right people the opportunity, and that's why we are reforming this political approach. You don't know who will help the people, so you cannot decide who will lead the people. Democracy gives that opportunity. I respect that system.
Faith in the democracy.
Correct. So we need to do everything we can to restore that faith. Thank you very much.
Finally, what do you have to say about the program?
The program is excellent. I want to first, honestly, I thank you for having me. And I think this is honestly a very good addition to our democratic contribution in Kano State and in Nigeria. Your medium, provocative, challenging, and very well-designed questions will put on the spot candidates who wants to lead people. And this is very important, and this is what we are missing always. If we don't put people on the spot, we don't know who they are. And when they get to office, they do trial and error. But your type of program, and I'm happy to say I am a participating member of the community of this program.
Thank you very much.
And I'm looking forward to any time you have an invitation. Something important you want us to discuss, please, at any given time I'm available. Congratulations for this wonderful medium, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Win-Win, for being on the program.
Thank you so much, Umar.
It's really been an honor.
Thank you. My honor is mine. Thank you.
Yeah, mashallah. All right, that's the end of the show. Thank you very much to Win-Win, and thank you so much to everyone that has contributed to the production of the program. On behalf of my producer, Zainab Abdulrahman Agogo, I'm Umar Isa Dandago saying goodbye and have a wonderful week ahead.